cut that right now. See all those logos up there? Sam Spence in the background. Great stuff going on in the NFL right now. It's a great time of year. High school basketball season going on. Chris Carter jersey right here. Dave Schultz, all I get is week 11. All Chris Carter does is catch touchdowns. I have my basketball season hairdo right now, so it's not perfectly groomed. It's already in full basketball mode, so I apologize, but love the logos on the screen there. A bunch of mixed ones over the years there. It's a couple of different Buccaneer ones and everything. Well, not all the logos are up there, but it's exciting to see all these old school logos. Very exciting. Especially that old Buccaneer one right there is just wonderful. Great NFL week. A lot of big games this week. Last week, we only saw one game that had two teams with winning records. That does not happen often. It shows you that the mediocrity of the NFL has to be very happy with the parity. And then in that Viking Bills game, both coaches absolutely managed wrongly about the clock. Even though the Vikings won again for the second time, including when the Saints played in London, the Vikings cannot handle making the clock run, allowing Buffalo to tie it. And of course, the Saints with a double doink in London itself, or we would have lost that game because again, we refuse to put three guys on each sideline, two guys in the back, and rush three. We won't do it. As teams without timeouts, both got good field goal attempts versus. This is atrocious. This will come back and bite us in the ass. And Kevin O'Connell really needs to get his head out of his ass on this one. I know he's 8-1 and everybody's excited, and I'm excited as hell, but that cannot happen. It's happened twice now. It's a pattern. We're not understanding that the clock has to be made to move. So instead, we give up 4 or 5 10-yard outs, and the clock doesn't move. So they're taking 30 to 40 yards in 15 to 16 seconds. Totally unacceptable. Give up the middle of the field. Let them take a big chunk. The clock moves. Then they have to run all the way up there. It takes at least 15 to 18 seconds, according to different studies. The clock moves. It puts them in a panic mode. They have to spike it. They have one less down. But nope, we don't do that. So against the Saints, they come down the field, double doink, or we lose that game. And then we let the Bills tie it last week. And then, of course, we win in overtime. But, geez, this is going to cost us. We're not handling the clock right. We have a lot of talent. I feel like we have enough talent to win. But we're not handling clock. We're not handling game situations right. Of when to take clock. It's something we have not done all year. Several times on 2nd and 4, when running the ball well, when needing to take clock, we throw the ball twice, so we don't get it. Sometimes on 2nd and 1, we don't get it on 2nd and 1. We throw a 40-yard pass on 3rd and 1. 4th and 1, we throw again instead of running the ball with Dalvin Cook or Madison. We have to learn how to run the clock. And what the hell the Bills are thinking there? They can't get the ball out of their own end zone. I'm sorry. Everybody tells me how good the Bills are, and I thought they were the best team in the NFL, but the Bills never win a close game. They did beat the Chiefs. I guess we can't say they have won a close game, but the Bills in close games in recent memory, the last year or two, not been good. They blew the damn Chiefs game last year. They blew that game last week, 27-10 at home. I don't know. I don't see the 70s and the 80s, 70s Steelers, the 80s 49ers, or the 90s Cowboys blowing those leads at home, or the Patriots in the 2000s. It's called running clock. So, again, let's get to this week's games, though. Lots of exciting games going on, and there's some exciting games and situations where teams aren't even that good, but yet the games are exciting. So 3-7 Bears at the Falcons, 4-6. The NFC South, what I told you on my preseason podcast about how it was the worst division of football. And of course, here on Telling It Like It Is, we are correct, as we usually are. Playoffs for the Falcons, if they could just hang around here and try to find a way to get these Buccaneers, who aren't any good, but Falcons aren't any good either. Bad losses for them too. Mariota's resurrected his career a little bit. But the key thing in this game is Fields is playing great for the Bears. He's been playing really, really well, has no offensive help, and yet he's putting up big numbers. So it's exciting to see Fields get good. But unless you're a Viking fan like myself, which means I could have to deal with him in the division for 10 more years, which would not be exciting. But Bears and Falcons, interesting game because of Fields. Watching Fields, he's one of those guys that you can watch. He's worth the price of admission. It's fun to just watch him play. So that's exciting. 3-7 Panthers at the 6-3 Ravens. Ravens should be the number 1 seed in the AFC, but they're not going to be because they've blown 3 huge leads over the year. They blew one to the Bills. They blew one to the Dolphins. They've just blown, so they blew one, I believe, to the Bengals. They're just 6-3. It's the best 6-3 team I've seen in a long time. I definitely think they're a Super Bowl contender. They got to continue to win this game for better playoff position to make up for previous failures. Baker Mayfield is a guy who could find himself out of the league here. I believe in him still, but it's just not working out for him. The Panthers stink. They're 3-7. They're done. Even though that division sucks, they're not going to make a run here. I'd be surprised if they did. I'd welcome it if they did. Not a great game to watch today. Browns 3-6. Talk about snake bitten franchises. The last guy to take them to the playoffs is Baker Mayfield. Before that, it's Belichick. 3-6 Browns. And here's a team if they just don't blow a 14-point lead to the Jets. They're 4-5 and they're alive if they could win a game. But 3-6, they got to go to Detroit now because the game has been snowed out with supposedly 5 feet of snow for the Bills in Buffalo there. Games in Detroit. Bills, like I said, losing a lot of close games. Red flag is a big situation that these playoff games sometimes come down to it. And again, the Bills now have taken away the opportunity of that Chiefs win, which would give them home field advantage. And now they're not going to have home field, it doesn't look like. So that's going to cost them, especially in those close games. We've talked about it before. You're up 27-10 at home. Got to take care of the football. You got to run the ball there, and we don't. For the Bills fan. I think the Bills will win this game. The Browns, if they could just have hung around here, they're getting Deshaun Watson back, and I think it's the week after next, and it's really sad for them. The Browns are a bitten franchise. They need to find a way to get this game today, but I don't think they're going to. The Bills are in a bad mood. Lost 2 in a row. I don't think they're happy. Redskins, which is a tough decision at the Texans here. Texans have played everybody tough again. Redskins are going to be thinking about playoffs right now. Their division, just like the AFC East, is all 500 or above. It's amazing. We thought maybe that the AFC West would do this, but the AFC West has had 2 teams in utter disaster. We'll get to that in a minute. But the Redskins, great defense. They get Young back today. Taylor Heineke's playing well. I'd tell Carson Wentz to take a hike and wait on the bench and hold the clipboard. The Deadskins can get to 6-5 with this win. Let's see if they're mature enough to go take out the Texans. Obviously, anything is possible, but the Deadskins defense for the Vikings this year, I thought that was the toughest defense we faced. I thought their pass rush was very good. I thought they were really tough. I thought our offensive line last week blocked the Bills very well as a Viking fan, but I still think the Redskins defense so far may have just been a one-day thing, but the Redskins defense, they're not going to be, you're going to hear from them again. They're very much more impressive than I thought they were going to be watching them up close. They look pretty good. I would take the Skins in that game. Eagles 8-1 at the Colts 4-5-1. If Jeff Saturday wins this week, are we going to get on the apology tour? I mean, we all called out, the Jets coach for saying I'm going to keep receipts, and I haven't heard anybody in the New York media, bunch of cowards. All the shows on FAN all mocked the guy, and they were rooting for him to fail. And here he is, they're 6-3 the Jets, and they mocked him. Well, same thing. Everybody mocked Jeff Saturday getting hired. Suppose Jeff Saturday wins this week. We're going to start the apology tour. We're going to admit that maybe we were wrong about that. You going to admit that? Well, Steve Kerr came right out of the announcer's booth to coach basketball. Why can't Jeff Saturday have an opportunity to do that? Well, we'll see. So that game should be fun. Eagles at the Colts. The Colts have a shot here, obviously. Eagles go out and do what championship teams do. They beef up their defense because they've been giving up too much on the ground. So they did what the LA Rams did last week. Last year, the Rams beefed up, but as you can see, we'll get to in a minute. It's cost the Rams dearly. But the Eagles 8-1. I'm sure they're in a bad mood against the Colts. Colts really need this game. They're not in great position playoff-wise. They got to step up. Jets 6-3 at the Pats 5-4. Such a big game. Jets have lost 13 straight to the Pats. This was a bad game. I think with Belichick manipulating the situation here, he's going to try to get Zach Wilson to do some crazy things like he did last time. Although, even though with all those 3 interceptions and many of them just terribly bad, they still lost 22-17. So you have to think if Zach just takes care of the football, even though it's on the road, you have to think the Jets have a chance. Obviously, the weather up here in the Northeast is going to be a factor today. Giant Stadium's going to be windy as hell. Obviously, Foxborough will be windy as hell. Not great for throwing the ball. I think it's right up Belichick's alley. He'll run the ball 45 to 50 times if he has to, because that's why he's the best. Jets 6-3 at Pats 5-4. So this game has significant meaning beyond just this game. If the Pats ever win here today, they tie the Jets, and then they have the tiebreaker on them, which would mean that the Jets would be in a tough situation. The AFC has some better records in it in the playoff picture than the NFC. If the Jets for the NFC, I'd feel like they were pretty solidly going to get in the playoffs, but in the AFC, as we'll talk about in a minute, it's a little bit more rough. I think that the Jets got to have this game. I think they get behind on the tiebreaker to the Pats here. I know they wouldn't be out of it certainly at 6-4, but this game would really just crush a lot of ways your playoff opportunities and your playoff hopes. And again, it's also a mental thing, 13 in a row, but the double tiebreaker the Pats would have would be a real problem. On the reverse side of that, the Jets win you 2 games ahead of the Pats, and that's huge. Then you put in the Pats kind of in the ground, you'd be 7-3, the Pats would be 5-5. So just enormous game, so much playoff implications there. Rams 3-6 at the Saints 3-7. I kept waiting for the Saints with their health. I still think the Saints have some talent on that team. Rams 3-6. They went all in last week, so I don't want to hear from their last year. So I don't want to hear from the Ram fans. bitching about your team. You sold your soul last year to get a championship, and you did. So you got to be happy about that. We don't want to hear about you crying about it. So the all injury game. Cup is out. Like I said, is everybody all into this game? Is everybody all into the Rams all in anymore? Stafford's banged up. No Cooper Cup. I mean, Jesus, this is the all injury game. The Saints still have some players, but again, they're 2 games behind the Bucs. I'm sure they probably still have 1 left with the Bucs, but they got to start winning soon. It's getting late for the Saints here. The Rams, the Bucs, and the Packers and the NFC are all in this kind of situation here where you just keep waiting for these 3 teams to click. The Rams aren't going to click 3-6. They're pretty much going to be done. The Bucs are 5-5, but the division is horrendous. Like we've said many times, worst division of football. So they'll be all right. They'll win that division by default. We've said it every week. Of course, the Packers 4-7. It's just a mess. There's not much else to say about that. 4-7 is just a mess. So those 3 teams never really click, but the Bucs don't have to click. They're going to get a pass. Lions at Giants. Interesting game here. The Lions have put up over 30 points several different times this year, 4 times. They're one of the 3 teams in the league to do that. They have a big offense. And then there's other weeks where they won 15-9 against the Pack. They've played pretty well. Ownership gave Dan Campbell a vote of confidence. I think he is doing a good job. They're a dangerous team. I'm not looking forward to playing them in a couple of weeks myself. Weather's definitely a factor. We'll see. Can the Giants use that weather to their advantage and slow down that offense? Daniel Jones continues to not turn the ball over, which is great. I think he's played a great season. He'd definitely be definitely one of the most improved players in the NFL. And Saquon Barkley continues to be the leading candidate for comeback player of the year. Being banged up for a couple of years, although playing some last year. But Giants 7-2. Giants win this game, they're gonna be a playoff team. You get to 10 wins in a 19 game schedule, a 17 game schedule, you're gonna get in. 10-7 is gonna get you in the NFC. Again, the AFC East and the NFC East looks like everybody's has a capability of being in the party. The Giants' schedule down the stretch is very rough. They got 5 division games left, so that will be tough. But I really believe they get in here. You pick up a couple of wins here and there. You get to 10, you're going to get in. So again, big game for the Giants here. You don't want to play with this game here. It's tough though, but the Giants are like the Vikings, and they're winning. We're winning ugly, both winning close games. But should be a factor, this weather. So we'll see if the Giants can run the ball, control it, and see if the Lions can get a stop on the run. We got the Raiders 2-7 at the Broncos 3-6. This is the game of which coach gets fired first. We got we got Hackett or Josh. We got Hackett or McDaniel. This is not going to be good. This is the GM horrible contest as well. Both teams went out and signed big time players and thought they would have big time years. 2-7 versus 3-6. This is a great rivalry game, but I won't be watching it. This is a snore fest. Bronco fans are very disgusted. Raider fans, they haven't been good in a long time. They're really pissed off. Not a good situation there. Cowboys 6-3 at my Vikes 8-1. We have not played well versus Dallas. We keep winning despite poor clock management end of game, as we talked about before. Looks like Zeke is back today. I still think that's a good way to pound us through the run. I don't think we've been great versus the run. Like I said, I think we have enough talent. We got turf toe for Justin Jefferson there. We're a little banged up with Darius Smith. He's going to play today supposedly, but he has been our defensive MVP. He's been great. That's going to be a great game. Like I said, we have not handled the Cowboys. We've lost very tough games to them in recent years. I'm hoping we get a little revenge today and get to 9-1. Plus, we get closer to the clinch of that division. Bengals 5-4, Steelers 3-6. No Jamar Chase. Bengals got to have this win because the Steelers offense stinks. But Pickett is crazy enough where he can go out and play a good game versus you. The Steelers defense is picked up. Bengals got to have it. Got to have this game. Keep pace. Because again, the AFC records, to be a wild card, it's going to be a little bit harder in the AFC than it is in the NFC. The teams are all above 500. We'll go over that in a minute. Chiefs 7-2 playing for the home field against the Lightning Bolts. Lightning Bolts got to have it. If the Lightning Bolts go to 5-5 here, they'll be behind the Chiefs by 3 games. That's going to be a big problem. They're not going to catch them, and they're going to have to get a wild card. And being 5-5, Chargers are all banged up, but the Chiefs look pretty good. If the Chiefs can get this game at the Chargers, this is not going to go well for the Chargers. You'll get 1 team from the AFC West in the playoffs. You won't get 2 or 3 like maybe we anticipated. We thought that'd be the best division at the beginning of the year. It has not been the best division. As we know, the hottest team in football from a perspective of not only wins, but momentum. The 49ers 5-4 feel like they're 9-0 almost. 5-4 playing at the Cards 4-6. Obviously McCaffrey, Niners look good. Cardinals are a mess. Is Murray going to be healthy? We're just not sure if Murray's going to be healthy. We're going to have to wait and see at game time if he's healthy. It's been a real mess over there. They're still dangerous with a guy like Hopkins running around. They're just such a tough team. we'll go from there. Let's check out the NFL standings as we keep reading here. I got the Niners in that game. That's a great Monday night game. Looking forward to that. So, a couple of things though. Scoring is down. It's lowest rate since 2017, averaging about 20.36 points per game in the NFL right now. That's the lowest since 2017. It's gone down every year since the high of it was in 2020. It was the highest ever in 2020. Hopefully, we don't wuss out and make some rule adjustments because we want to promote scoring, which is just a nightmare. It's like I said, it's down since the 2020 high. One of the biggest reasons, red zone. 84.6% of the points, 84.6% of the time was scored in the red zone, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. That's the worst since 09. That's a big significant thing. 13 years, significant block of time when it was 87% is the usual. But also, everybody keeps talking about how it's the red zone, and they're right. But it's also the coach's decisions in a red zone. I hate to say it, the coaching today is, well, we're down 2 scores and we'll go for a touchdown when it's 4th and goal from the 9. No, you need 2 scores anyway. But this is the kind of thing where it hurts red zone participation of points. 84.6 to 87. You get a couple of guys who go for it on 4th and long instead of kicking a field goal. That's what makes this red zone number a little bit inaccurate and a little bit unrealistic. Guys are going for it more and more on 4th and goal from the 5, from the 4, instead of taking those points and realizing that with the pace of the game and the amount of possessions you get today, you're going to get a chance to get back later. But not what's happening. Guys are taking crazy chances instead of taking the points. It's become like an ego thing. Well, we're going for it on 4th and goal from the 7. Well, maybe you should take the 3 there. You're in the second quarter. And it's not about macho. It's about winning the game. But that's part of the reason also why red zones are going down. We'd love to see the stat on how many guys go for it on 4th and goal. I bet you that number is way up. So, people think, well, that's the way we play now. Well, it doesn't work, obviously, because, again, the scoring is down. So if that's the way you play as your excuse, you're a moron and you can't evaluate. The idea is to score points. It's like in baseball, launch angle doesn't work. Scoring is down in baseball. Strikeouts are up. Hits are down. Okay, so obviously launch angle doesn't work. I don't care if it's your freaking agenda. If your agenda sucks, your theory sucks, and then it doesn't work. The idea is to win games. And how you do that? Well, you score runs, you score points. So don't give me about your agenda. Prove it that it works. All right. So let's not have a situation where we're talking about, well, this is the way we play today. Well, the way you play isn't scoring you points. So obviously you need to re-examine the way you play and maybe kick more field goals on 4th and goal from the 6. Unbelievable. So again, that's coaching, and the coaching matters. We talk about that in this league a lot. Let's check out the standings here. We got the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, but at 1 seed. Dolphins, good to see Tua back there. Titans just keep winning, even though nobody has any respect for them. I think the Ravens are a tough group there. Obviously, if it ended today, the Dolphins would play the Pats. Tennessee would play Buffalo. The Jets would play the Ravens. Chiefs would get the bye. If you look, like I said, Chargers and Bengals got to win today, because if you take a good look, Bengals and Chargers are both out at 5-4. So you go to 5-5 today, you're really going to be chasing. Obviously, anybody from the Browns on down, they're pretty much done. Maybe Deshaun can bring some light to that. But Broncos are out. Steelers are not doing anything. Jacksonville, no. Raiders, no. Texans, obviously, no. Browns probably out. Colts with an outside shot still. They got to find a way in that crappy division to find a way to get some wins. If you go to the NFC, the record is obviously not as good. If you're 5-4 in NFC, you're in the playoff picture. That's the big difference. Vikings would play the Niners if they ended today, which would be a disaster for my Vikings. Would get crushed on the line of scrimmage. Seattle versus Dallas, Tampa versus the Giants. That would be the matchups there. But again, if you look, Green Bay looks like they're done. 4-7, I don't think is going to cut it. It'd have to run off 6 in a row here. I don't still see that happening. They're definitely capable. It's amazing that they stink with the running game they have, and their defense at the beginning of the year was predicted to be so good. And of course, you have very talented Aaron Rodgers, who is playing with a hurt thumb, but he doesn't want to use that excuse. But no one's doing that. Plus, the Packers are playing a 592 straight to schedule. Lions are playing a 598 straight to schedule. Straight to victory so far. The best team in straight to victory is the 500 Packers. So again, their schedule is definitely taking a big toll on them. Them and the Lions so far have had the toughest schedules in the NFC. Rams look like they're definitely done. I think the Lions are done. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers are done. Saints in that division still have an outside shot, but obviously, when I say done, I mean no wild card shot. The Bears are out also. So it's going to be tough, but it's a situation where you can definitely see in the NFC a lower record can get you in. That's why I say if the Giants get this win today, they're going to lock in there. They're going to get to 10 wins. 10 wins is definitely going to get you in the NFC. There's already teams who are not going to be able to get 10 wins as the trend continues. So a lot of big games today. A lot of big games abound. Really exciting things going on. And again, Spotify, Twitter, Facebook, iHeartRadio.